Someone looked at you recently. And in that moment, before you finished your sentence, before you even made your case, they had already decided. They talked over you in a room full of people who were watching. They dismissed what you said with a smirk before you finished saying it. They reduced you to a punchline in front of the exact people whose respect you were trying to earn. And deep inside your chest, something ignited. A heat that moved fast, from your gut to your jaw to your hands. Every nerve in your body told you to react. Every instinct screamed at you to show them exactly who they were dealing with. And maybe you did. Maybe you fired back. Maybe your voice got louder and your face changed, and for a brief second it felt like you were defending something real. Or maybe you swallowed it. You let it pass. You told yourself you were being the bigger person. You walked away carrying something heavy that you didn't have a name for. Not quite anger, not quite shame, but somewhere in between. Something that sat with you for hours. Something that came back at 3 in the morning when the room was quiet. Both of those responses, exploding and swallowing, have something in common. Neither of them worked. And the reason they didn't work is not what you think. It is not about composure. It is not about confidence. It runs deeper than that. Centuries ago, a man who had been exiled, imprisoned, and tortured by the very governments he served, sat down and wrote the most ruthlessly honest analysis of human power ever committed to paper. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli. And what he understood about disrespect, what he documented with cold precision, most people alive today have never been told. What I am about to show you will change the way you move through every room you walk into for the rest of your life. Stay with me. Context. Threat setup. Before you can understand how to handle disrespect, you need to understand what disrespect actually is. Because most people get this wrong from the very beginning. They take it personally. They feel it as an attack on their worth, their identity, their right to exist as they are. And the moment you do that, the moment you accept that someone else's behavior is a verdict on your value, you have already lost. Not the argument, not the confrontation. You have lost the frame. Disrespect is not a verdict. It is a probe. It is sent out, usually unconsciously, by people who are uncertain of their own position in the hierarchy around them. Think about every person who has disrespected you in your life. Were they the most secure, the most grounded individuals you have ever encountered? Almost certainly not. The people who disrespect others are almost always the people wrestling with their own smallness in silence. They feel threatened. They feel something rising in you that they cannot match. And rather than doing the internal work that threat demands, they externalize it. They aim it at whoever is closest. They aim it at whoever they sense is climbing above them. Machiavelli mapped this with precision that modern psychology would not catch up to for 5 centuries. Every room you walk into, there are invisible calculations happening beneath the surface. People are watching, measuring, determining who holds power and who does not. And the moment someone senses weakness, not real weakness, perceived weakness, they will probe it, not out of cruelty, out of instinct. This is what disrespect actually is. A test of your readability, a question being asked without words. What happens when I push this person? And here is the thing that nobody talks about. Your response is the answer, and that answer echoes far beyond the moment it was given. Later in this video, I am going to show you the exact mechanism by which disrespect either dies permanently or doubles. Most people never see it until it is already too late. Stay close. Authority anchor. Niccolò Machiavelli was not a philosopher with clean hands and comfortable theories. He was a man who had watched power at close range his entire life. He served the Florentine Republic for 14 years, advising, negotiating, observing princes and tyrants and generals rise and collapse around him. He understood politics not as an abstraction, but as a living, brutal, daily contest for position. And when the Medici returned to power and had him arrested, when they tortured him trying to extract a confession he refused to give, he did not break. When they released him, he retreated to a small farm outside Florence. And in that exile, stripped of everything, he sat down and wrote The Prince, not as a comfortable guide for decent men, but as a ruthless documentation of how power actually operates beneath the surface of polite society. What he wrote about disrespect was not philosophical. It was mechanical. He observed that every social environment is a battlefield of invisible hierarchies. He watched ambitious men destroy themselves not through incompetence but through emotional decisions, through reacting when strategy demanded patience, through revealing their interior life to people who would weaponize that information. And he watched patient men who understood that the world does not reward the most emotional, it rewards the most strategic, rise to positions of lasting authority. His central insight, the one that sits beneath everything we are about to cover, was this: the world does not treat you according to what you deserve. It treats you according to what you accept. Read that again, because everything that follows is built on it. Point 1. The reaction trap. Let me show you exactly what weakness looks like, so you can recognize it and eliminate it from your behavior permanently. A weak person gets disrespected and explodes. It happens fast. Their face changes. Their voice gets louder. Their body tightens. They genuinely believe the intensity of their reaction is communicating strength. They think that by matching the aggression, by firing back harder, they are reclaiming something that was taken from them. But everyone watching sees something completely different. They see someone who lost control. They see a person whose emotional state can be hijacked by anyone with the nerve to push the right buttons. They see someone predictable, someone reactive, someone who can be steered. The weak man confuses volume with dominance. He thinks anger is power. But Machiavelli warned against acting from passion with a clarity that few thinkers before or since have matched. Passion narrows your field of vision to the immediate moment. It strips away your ability to see consequences. A passionate person sees only what is directly in front of them. A strategic person sees the entire board. And passion makes you predictable. In any arena of power, predictability is the beginning of defeat. There is another version of the same weakness. The person who swallows disrespect in silence, not from strategy, but from conflict avoidance. Who smiles and lets it pass because the discomfort of confrontation feels worse than the discomfort of being diminished. Who tells themselves they are choosing peace when what they are actually choosing is permission. Every single time you absorb disrespect without response, you are writing a policy, not in your mind, in theirs, and in the minds of everyone who witnessed it. The policy reads, "This is acceptable here. This person will allow this." And people follow policies, not consciously, not cruelly, but reliably. This is why most people stay stuck. They are not powerless because the world is against them. They are powerless because they are slaves to their own reactions, either exploding and revealing themselves, or swallowing and disappearing. Their emotions run them. Their impulses lead them, and the world responds accordingly, not treating them as someone to be reckoned with, but as someone to be managed. Point 2. The strategic response. Now let me introduce you to a different kind of person entirely. This is the person who, when disrespect arrives, does not reach for anger first. They reach for clarity. They ask the question that changes everything. What is the most advantageous move I can make right now? This is cold psychology. This is the internal operating system of every person who has ever built lasting power. They are not numb. They feel the heat of disrespect exactly as intensely as anyone else. The fire in the chest, the jaw tightening, the impulse to react, all of it arrives. But instead of being moved by it, they observe it. They note it as data. And then they set it aside and ask what the situation actually demands. This is mastery. Not the mastery of never feeling. The mastery of never being controlled by what you feel. Emotional detachment is not coldness. It is the presence of choice. When you detach from the compulsion to react, you gain options. You can respond with silence. You can respond with measured words. You can choose to wait and address the situation later on a battlefield of your own choosing. You can choose to let your continued excellence be the only answer you give. The person who operates this way becomes genuinely unsettling to anyone who relies on provocation as a tool. They push. Nothing moves. They insult. Nothing shifts. They try to embarrass. The target either smiles faintly or does not react at all and walks away. And the person who launched the attack is left standing in the aftermath of their own aggression, exposed, looking small in front of whoever was watching. When you cannot be read, you cannot be played. And here is the principle most people miss entirely, the one that separates genuine power from the performance of it. The goal is not to punish disrespect. The goal is to make disrespect unprofitable. There is a difference, and it changes everything about how you carry yourself. The person who responds out of anger is still being controlled. The situation still moves them, and anyone watching registers that. But the person who responds out of principle, calmly, directly, without drama, sends a signal that cannot be argued with. They are saying, with everything but words, this is simply how things work when you deal with me. No punishment, no anger, no negotiation, just clarity. Point 3. The weapon of silence. There is a weapon that costs nothing, requires no preparation, demands no physical strength, and it has the power to dismantle a person faster than any comeback you could ever craft. That weapon is silence. When someone disrespects you and your response is silence, something shifts in the atmosphere of the room immediately. The tension expands. The person who launched the attack finds themselves standing in a space that is not behaving the way they expected. They came in expecting resistance. They prepared for a fight. And you gave them nothing. Now, they are alone in the chaos they created. Their aggression found no target. It landed in empty space. And everyone who witnessed the moment is watching them, not you, because you are still composed, unaffected. And they are the one who looks like they lost control. Silence is dominance because it refuses to validate the attack. Every response you withhold communicates something more powerful than any words you could have said. Your silence says, this person does not register as a genuine threat. Their opinion carries no weight. You are operating at a frequency so far above this moment that engaging with it is not something you are even considering. That realization, that you simply do not care, that you are not shaken, that they have not touched you, is what destroys people more completely than any clever comeback ever could. A clever line can be argued with. Silence cannot. It just sits there, enormous and unmoving, making the attacker look increasingly desperate with every passing second. Machiavelli understood that power is about controlling the frame of an interaction. The frame is the invisible structure that determines who is in charge of any given moment. When someone disrespects you and you explode, they control the frame. You are dancing to their music. But when you hold your silence, you pull the frame out of their hands. You force them to inhabit the awkwardness of their own making. Silence also exposes the attacker. When you do not respond, all eyes turn to them. People see them clearly, perhaps for the first time. The pettiness, the desperation. Someone who needed to diminish another person in order to feel significant. And they form an opinion that will outlast this moment by a long time. You do not always have to destroy your enemies with action. Sometimes you step back, hold your silence, and let them be seen for exactly what they are. If this is landing for you, drop a like on this video right now and write the word unshakable in the comments. Not as a wish, as a declaration. Stay close, we are not done. The flip, indifference and strategic retaliation. Now let me be clear about something important. Silence is powerful, but silence does not always mean standing still. There are moments when a response is not just appropriate, it is necessary. There are moments when an example must be made, when a boundary must be demonstrated rather than implied. The difference between a weak person and a strategic one is not whether they ever strike back. It is how and when they do it. The weak man retaliates in the moment, fueled by emotion, swinging wildly. He may land some blows, but he reveals his hand entirely. His enemy now knows exactly what moves him, and that information will be used indefinitely. The strategic person waits. They observe the full landscape before acting. They understand something fundamental. The person who determines when and where a conflict resolves holds the power in that conflict. Not the person who strikes first, the person who strikes last, with precision, at the exact moment of maximum impact. When you wait before responding, clarity arrives. Openings become visible that were hidden in the heat of the moment. Your enemy, believing the conflict is past, lowers their guard. They relax. They stop watching. And that is when you move. When you do act, it must be decisive. Half measures communicate weakness just as much as overreaction does. A firm, unmistakable response sends a message not just to the person who tested you, but to everyone who witnessed it. This is how you build a reputation, through demonstrated consistency, through being the person who, when pushed, does not crumble and does not explode, but responds with something so measured and so effective that no one who witnessed it forgets the lesson. But here is what most people never see. Strategic retaliation is not always loud. Sometimes it is the quietest thing in the world. It is the withdrawal of your time, your energy, your presence from someone who wronged you. You stop helping them. You step back from the role you were playing in their life and let them discover what it costs to lose you. By the time they understand what is happening, the window has already closed. Do not waste energy on noise. Spend it on precision. And beyond retaliation, beyond silence, there is something more devastating than either. Something more final. Something that, once truly felt by another person, leaves a mark that no insult or revenge ever could. It is indifference. Not performed indifference. Not the kind where you are pretending to be unbothered while your mind replays the moment on a loop. True indifference. The kind where the opinion or behavior of a particular person simply does not reach the level of your awareness that matters. where it registers like distant noise and dissolves without ever engaging your full attention. Machiavelli understood that attention is currency. Whatever you give your attention to, you give power to. When you argue with someone, you elevate them. When you defend yourself against every accusation, you legitimize the accusers. But when you remain genuinely indifferent, you cut off their supply. You take away the only thing they were ever after. They wanted a reaction. They wanted to feel significant by being acknowledged. And you denied them that. This is how you become untouchable. Not by fighting every battle, not by defending every inch of ground, but by making a deliberate choice about what deserves your energy and letting everything else dissolve. There is a final place this entire conversation brings you to. Not a destination you arrive at once and stop building toward. A standard you set and recommit to every single day. The decision, made and remade across thousands of small moments, to become the kind of person who cannot be broken by the external world. Not because you hide from it, because you have built something inside you so solid, so consistently forged in discipline and self-knowledge, that ordinary provocations simply cannot find purchase in you. Machiavelli gave the world this blueprint 500 years ago. He was not writing about a world that no longer exists. He was writing about human nature. And human nature does not change. The specific arenas shift. The language and technology evolve. But beneath all of it, the same invisible calculations are being made in every room of every building in the world right now. The same probes are being sent out. The same hierarchies are being established and contested. The principles he documented are as alive today as they were in his time. Master them, and you master something that will serve you in every context you inhabit for the rest of your life. Here is what that mastery actually requires. First, excellence. Genuine, undeniable competence in something that matters, when you are clearly the best at what you do, or visibly on the path toward it. People cannot dismiss you, regardless of how they feel about you personally. Your skill becomes armor that follows you everywhere. It forces acknowledgement even from people who would prefer to deny your value. Second, consistency. Reputation is not built in a single dramatic moment. It is built in the accumulation of small moments over time. People remember whether you held your composure when things were difficult, or whether you broke under the weight of it. Stay composed under pressure, consistently over months and years. And people build a story about you in their minds that lives long after specific events have faded. Third, the willingness to enforce your limits when they are genuinely crossed. A reputation is a living thing. It must be defended, not constantly, not reactively, but with precision at the right moments. When someone crosses a line and you respond with calm, deliberate firmness, that signal echoes far beyond the single exchange. Fourth, mystery. The discipline of not revealing everything, of letting there be depth that others cannot fully measure. When people believe they understand you entirely, they feel comfortable. When there are dimensions they cannot access, they tread more carefully. They assume there is more than they can see. That assumption protects you. You are in a war, not with your enemies, not with the people who have disrespected or underestimated you. The real war is internal. It is the ongoing contest between the version of you that reacts, that crumbles, that hands power to anyone who knows which buttons to push, and the version of you that moves with purpose, responds with precision, and builds rather than burns. The old version must be dismantled deliberately, day by day, not through self-hatred, but through the quiet, relentless practice of choosing differently each time the moment arrives. You feel the impulse to react. You pause. You breathe. You ask what the strategic move is. You choose the response that serves the person you are building. Simple, endlessly difficult, completely worth it. No one is coming to save you. That is not a harsh truth. It is a liberating one. No one is going to arrive and hand you the discipline, the reputation, and the emotional mastery you need to navigate the world at the highest level. The version of you that is waiting for the right conditions, the right moment, the right amount of external validation before you begin. That version will wait forever. The only thing standing between you and the person you want to become is the daily decision to build them. That decision is made in small moments. When you choose restraint over reaction. When you hold your silence instead of giving your power away. When you choose again and again to be the person you are becoming, rather than defaulting back into the person you are leaving behind. Will you react or will you respond? Will you hand your power to anyone with the nerve to push your buttons, or will you become the master of what moves you? Write unshakable in the comments right now, not as a wish, as a commitment to something new starting today. And if this reached something real in you, subscribe and stay close. This channel exists for people who are serious about the work, people who understand that power is not given. It is forged. The work never stops, and neither do you.